For me, these are the two-hand tools I use most often, a knife and this homey gardening tool, digging tool. And by attaching a lanyard like this, you're not going to lose it. It's a great way to not waste as much time looking for tools. Hey, it's Greg here with MaritimeGardening.com, and today I'm going to show you a way to solve a garden problem that I waste countless hours trying to solve, and that is losing something like this or something like this. These two tools are the things I use most often in the garden. This homey digger, right? It's just a garden tool for digging and different things like that, and just a steak knife that I took to a grinder and took the serrated edge off, and I just use it as a garden knife. All right, and I'm constantly setting these down and losing them. And even though I've painted the handle on this a bright yellow color, I still lose it all the time, because as long as something's over that yellow, well, then it's just a rust, right? Everything in the garden is the color of rust, color of dirt, right? So I'm constantly, if I'm in the garden for 2 hours and these tools are important for what I'm doing, I probably spend 15 minutes of that 2 hours trying to find these things. And I'm constantly worried about losing this and driving my hand into the soil and finding it the wrong way, okay? So I've tried bright handles. It's a good solution, it helps you find it, but it's not the ultimate solution. But I think I've come up with an even better solution. It's so simple, and I can't believe it's taken me years to come up with this idea. And that is to attach a lanyard to the tool that you don't want to lose. And I've got the perfect material to do that with today. So this is 550 paracord. It just means it breaks. It's got like a 550 breaking strength, although I think the working strength is like 200 something pounds. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be hanging off of this, right? Anyway, the point is there's this paracord, bright colored, orange colored, and this one here actually has reflective material in it as well. So let's say you walk around the garden looking for this, you can't find it anywhere. Wait till the sun goes down, go out with your flashlight. The flashlight will pick up the reflective quality. There's like a kind of piping that goes around the line that is reflective, okay? So if you were, for whatever reason, just unable to find something, you go out and look for it at night with a flashlight, you will find it. Okay, so I picked this up at Princess Auto. I think you can get 100 feet of this for like 10 bucks, $9.99, that sort of thing. Really good price. So let me show you how I'm going to work the knot to tie this on. I'm going to use what's called a common whipping knot with a lanyard incorporated into the design, and a little bit of electrical tape to make it easier. Okay, so let's make this happen here. I'm going to do it with this thing, and I'm going to do it with the knife so you can see me do it twice. All right, here we go. So for me, you want the lanyard to be long enough so that you could put the thing over your head, right? And just in case you want to try that, right? So for me, that's, it's like the distance from your thumb to your sort of crook and back, right? That's about the right distance for a lanyard that'll easily go over your head. You know, that way if you're working with it and you want to set it down for a second, you can do that. You can just put it around your neck, and there's much less risk of it going missing like that, right? All right, so here we go. So we just take this and we put it on the end. I would put it right on the butt end, okay? And then you take some electrical tape. Electrical tape does not get enough praise in the world. And you want to have this sort of bulky part. I'm right-handed, so you want the bulky part of the knot to be where your thumb and fingers go, as opposed to against the back of your hand, for any knot like this, the kind I'm showing you here. Okay, so I'm rigging this up here, okay, and I'm just going to put this electrical tape around it to hold it in place. I'll show you what I'm doing here in a second once I get it on there good. All right, so I just got it on like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put the electrical tape around a couple times When I get this all done, you're not going to see the electrical tape. So it'll look like I'm some sort of whatnot wizard. Okay, so I got the electrical tape around like that. Okay, on the side where I want it. All right. Now with a good sharp knife, right, I'll just trim off that little bit of rubbish there, right, and dig along. Trying to hold this. It's so weird doing everything in camera. It's all sort of like, it's like working in a mirror. Everything's sort of backwards. That's pretty good there. All right, that's okay. All right. So I just trim that off like that, okay? Okay, so you can see I got the tape on there. And now from this point onward, everything has to be extremely tight. So what I'm doing with this loose piece of string here is creating a bite in the string, okay, a loop. Okay, I'm going to put the loop right over where I've got the electrical tape, hold it down with my thumb, and I'm going to wrap it around as tight as I can. Okay, that's the key here, is to really constantly tighten. Okay, you're trying to get this as tight as humanly possible. Okay, I'm going to wrap it around until I've basically gone over all where the electrical tape is, and maybe even a little further. And I'm trying to keep it, I'm constantly in contact with my fingers, right, holding it down with my thumb, holding it down here, right, and I'm pulling really tight with my my left hand, and I'm also bunching it up as I go. Okay, you can paint over this with varnish if you want to make it even more long lasting, right? But okay, so I've gone around it enough to where I've got rope over all the area where the tape was. So now I put it, so I got the loop here. I put this through this loop here, the loose end. Still holding it tight with my fingers, right? Very important to hold it tight. Now I've got this loose end right here, and I pull that. See, I pull that tight, and it tightens up right here, snugs it. Now before I tighten that, I pull that a little bit more. I get it basically as tight as I can because it's snugged up here. And I give that another snug, like that. Now I give this one more crank. I see it's not exactly where I want it, so I have to move it. I'm just going to use my knife here to sort of use the back of my knife here to move it back. See how there's a little space right here? I don't want that. I'm using this knife, probably not the safest way to do it, but just pushing the whole, just use a stick, use whatever you can find that's safe, but I'm pushing the whole wrapping back to snug it right up. That's good. Okay. All right, so now I've got this loose end here, and I've got this part of the knot right here, and I pull it till I see this go right in. So make sure I can get this on film here. This knot has to pop in. Of course, it's right next to my microphone. Let me move my microphone. Kind of a weird position. Of course, I'm doing this right over the microphone, making as much noise as possible. How about I move it up here? All right, we repositioned the microphone so wasn't creating noise problems. Let me see if I can get that in a little further. Doesn't seem to want to go. I'll show you a trick for that. All right, the trick is to just, in the case of this particular tool, just step down on it and pull. Okay, so now we've got that in there. Okay, so that's in, that's in. All right, so now we can cut those ends off. This one here just gets cut off like so. And this one here just gets carefully, you don't want to cut the lanyard. Carefully cut that off. There we go. All right, so now we've got a very high visibility lanyard on the garden tool. If you're worried, if you don't feel confident that you've got this really tight, just put some varnish or some glue over this and it'll hold together. I'm confident I got this as tight as it can get. You saw how hard it was for me to pull the knot through. Okay. With this, when I'm using it, I can put it around my wrist so it doesn't go loose. But I can also just put it, when it's not in use, right? When I'm between operations, I can put it around my neck, right? And I've got it for when I need it, right? And even if I just lay it on the ground, I've got this. This doesn't look highly visible, but it's orange, like high visibility orange, safety orange. But also this has, I don't know how well you can see, but it's got reflective material within the rope. So if it's pitch dark and you shine a light on it, it just shines right up, just like any sort of reflective material. Okay, let's do this knife. Another way to do this for extra certainty is to tie a little overhand knot at the end of both ends of the lanyard, like this. Okay. Just a simple overhand knot. Right, and you do that before you electrical tape it to the knife. You don't need the electrical, when you use the knots like this, you don't need the electrical tape at all. The whipping knot will hold it all fine. But the catch is that, it's kind of a pain to hold everything together while you're working on it. So it's just easier to hold it in place with the electrical tape. And of course, if you don't want to learn the whipping knot, you can stop right here, especially if you have a nice bright color of electrical tape, right? If you have a yellow or a high visibility tape, that'll be fine. All right, so we got that on there. Now, these might seem to be in the way, but they would be uncomfortable if they were on the palm part of the knife. Because I'm right-handed, they're on the grip part of the knife. They're really not irritating at all, right? Because they're going in between your finger and your hand, right? It's uncomfortable when they're against your palm. When they're on this side, it doesn't matter so much. Okay, I'm going to snug those up a bit just so they're nice and tight against the electrical tape, right? Now I'm going to cut these a bit cleaner. There we go. Okay, so that's fine just like it is, of course, but we're going to put the whipping knot on it just to, just to be extra cool. Okay, so I'm going to go with roughly a wingspan. You don't really need that much. A wingspan will give you like a 2 to 3 inch whipping knot, and we only need like 1.5 inches here. You want a good loop. Make sure you got enough tag in here to hold with your hand, okay? Meaning loose end. right? Okay, I'm holding that down with my thumb. I'm going to start wrapping around with it. I hope this is visible enough. Once you go around about 2-3 times, that's when you start tightening everything. Okay. Now I can really start working it out. Now the advantage of having the whole butt is, with the rope around it, is that you're just making it that much more visible, right? Making it more visible. You can see I'm using my thumb here to sort of adjust things. Yes, I've got the blade against my hand, and I'm taking some risks like that, but to show you in closely, I'm just wrapping it around with my thumb, trying to get it as tight as I can in places where I get a bit of space, mending it a little bit as I go, right? And just wrapping around. And I apologize if this is the worst camera angles ever. I'm having a heck of a time. I normally don't do this on camera. I do it just with myself, sort of thing. And it's a completely different proposition doing this. Looking at here, it's all in reverse, right? It's very strange for me. So I apologize for that. Okay, so now I got it around enough. I'm going to pull that little knot tight. Okay. And now I'm going to pull this some more. I'm going to pull the knot tight again. Pull that a little bit more. Now, you've got this end here against that little knot there, and what you want to do is pop it in there by pulling on this end over here, right? You want to pop this little bit up under the wrap by pulling on this. All right, so I got that. I got it in. I actually pulled this blade. I put the blade against the tree, pulled it that way, and I actually pulled the blade almost 2 inches into a tree to get that tight enough to pop the knot under. But it's under now. Now that I got that under, I can cut that end off, and over here I can cut this end off. Okay. So now I've got the knife on a functional lanyard, right? On this part of the knife, right, where it doesn't really doesn't affect or irritate my grip, because it's where the fingers meet this part of your hand. If you're going to have any sort of bulgy thing on a knife handle, you want it where your fingers meet your palm, sort of thing. You don't want it on the back part. Okay, so now I've got this in a pinch. I can put it around my neck. Probably not a good idea with a bare knife like that, right? But the main thing is that you've got this high visibility, hard to lose lanyard. So the next time I set this knife down in the garden, not only is it going to have this nice bright color on the handle, it's easy to find, but it's going to have this big long loop that's going to stick out. And in the event that I can't find it at all, I can come out after dark with a flashlight and find it. So, a great way to prevent losing your garden tools: attach a lanyard to the handle. This is for your hand tools because they're, I lose all kinds of, I even lose rakes and shovels and stuff like that all the time. But the hand tools are really easy to lose. For me, these are the two hand tools I use most often: a knife and this homey gardening tool, digging tool. And by attaching a lanyard like this with a high visibility reflective material in the rope, such as this paracord, you're not going to lose it. It's a great way to not waste as much time looking for tools. I can't express to you how much time I spend walking around and around and around my garden trying to find these two things. I'm hoping that by doing this, I'll spend a little less time. As much as I like being in my garden, I'll spend a little less time looking for these and a little more time getting her done. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.